There are a variety of ways to air condition your home. You can have a traditional split system, which is with a condensing unit sitting outside and a coil sitting on your furnace. Heat pump, which is the same thing, except the heat pump will also heat your home in mild conditions. You can have a high velocity air conditioning system, which really works in conjunction with a boiler. And what the high velocity is small tubing that's run throughout the house, blown at, just like it says, high velocity to circulate the air. There's also a ductless or a mini split system, which is ideal for hard to reach rooms. If you can't get ductwork to it, this is an ideal option for you. Some other considerations on air conditioning would be whether you're going to have an R22 or Freon based air conditioning unit versus a R410A or Puron based. The differences are R22, the Freon, is being phased out. As a matter of fact, effective 2010, new equipment cannot be made that requires the use of Freon. The industry has been shifting over to Puron now for the past 12 years. Since 1996, Bryant has been making them, and we've been installing Puron-based units, and they've been some of the most reliable equipment that they've produced. And as you can imagine, as R22 gets phased out and it becomes more scarce, the serviceability of your equipment in the future will probably only increase. So that's a consideration to have on that. We typically recommend Puron for your systems just for the long-term serviceability. Another option to consider is the efficiency, and it's measured as a SEER, which is Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. Minimum SEER right now is 13. So that's the minimum that a manufacturer can make. You can get them all the way up to 20 SEER and beyond. Some considerations to go in there with the higher SEER units is, will you get the payback on that additional cost of buying that higher SEER? In Michigan, that might be somewhat sketchy because we have a shorter cooling season, and whether you can get that payback or not is debatable. But there are some other advantages to the higher SEER units. They might be quieter, more compact. So there are some other advantages in a higher SEER unit. Another consideration in dealing with air conditioning is the sizing of the unit to match the home. It's typically sized in what we call tonnage: 2 ton, 2.5 ton, 3 ton, all the way up to 5 ton. And that represents the cooling amount that it can produce. And what we do is we size that home and determine what kind of cooling load you need. Then we will match an air conditioner up with that. So now a little bit more of an explanation on each air conditioning system. Traditional split system, which we covered the operation of in the Airflow is King portion of our videos, like I said, is the most common air conditioner out there. And that's because up until just recently, with gas prices the way they were, that's what everybody put in. Heat pumps are starting to replace them because they're much more efficient on the heating end of things. But a traditional air conditioner is much just like a heat pump. This is a heat pump right here, except that a traditional air conditioner is probably going to be half the size of this heat pump. A heat pump, like this one, will work the same as an air conditioner in the summertime, but the neat thing about it, when it gets to be mild outside, and we're going to say mild is 30 degrees and above, and you want some heat in your home, this will also heat your home. And it does it very simply. It just goes in reverse. That's the best way to explain the heat pump cycle, is it just goes into reverse, and it extracts the heat that is in the outside air and brings that inside via the coil here and discharges that heat in your home. You only have a little bit of electric cost for running the compressor and the fan in the furnace, and no gas bill. So that has become very, very popular in Michigan now with the high gas prices. Another option, and we talked about, is the high velocity air conditioners, which ties in with boilers. This is the type of ductwork that you have in a high velocity system. As you can see, it is very narrow, very small diameter, and very flexible, which allows us to get it into a lot of tight spaces. Because typically with a boiler, there is no ductwork. So this becomes your ductwork, allows us to retrofit this into almost any home. It has a high velocity air handler and an outdoor condensing unit. It can be paired with a heat pump, or it can be paired with a traditional air conditioner. and it works under the same principles, except for being a high velocity system. These are placed strategically throughout your home, and they will blow the air out at a very high velocity, but in such a way that it will mix with the air that's in the room, and so that it will not blow directly on the occupants of that room, so you don't have the cold drafts. Works very well. One other thing about these high velocity systems though is that sizing of your ductwork is very important. The size of this, the blower sizing is all very important, because if it's not done correctly, you end up with a lot of air noise. But done properly, you won't even hear these units run. Another system out there is the ductless mini split system, and those are done with an outdoor condensing unit. They can be heat and cool, or cool only. They have an air handler unit that hangs on the wall, and that air handler can hang on the wall and it'll look like maybe a window air conditioner, or some of the newer ones out have them, they're actually a picture frame. You can put your own picture right inside there, and the air blows out the sides of it and distributes it and cools and heats that room. Again, they work very well. They're very efficient equipment, and great for rooms where you cannot get ductwork to. If you have a small bonus room above a garage or something like that that you can't get any ductwork to, these are great options for that. So I hope this has enlightened you on the options of air conditioning, and thank you for watching.